Now, it's nearly 2 years ago that 60% of Australians voted no to an Indigenous voice to Parliament, but we know states have pressed on with their own ideas. South Australia has its own voice. Now, Victoria is going to enshrine one in law, as we found out from the Premier Jacinta Allen today. Now, their thing will be called the First Peoples Assembly, which it does already exist. It's a private, not-for-profit company that's been around since 2019 that was designed to represent Indigenous people in negotiations with the state government over a treaty, which is another thing that shouldn't happen. But now Allen says this should be a permanent part of government in Victoria. And she was asked the obvious today, didn't we say no to the voice?
The key difference to the referendum that was put nationwide a couple of years ago is that was changing the Constitution. This is not changing the Victorian Constitution. It's simply taking a common sense approach, sitting the First Peoples Assembly, an ongoing representative body, into our existing parliamentary structures. But the significant change is it'll be a body where we will be listening, taking on their advice.
It's not in the Constitution, therefore it's common sense. I'm not quite sure I follow. Allen also refused to answer questions today about what powers this voice would have. But the expectation is that it will be much the same as the one in South Australia, which means it'll be able to have a say in all laws and government policies that affect Indigenous Victorians. But of course, every law and every policy affects Indigenous Victorians because all laws affect all people. So that would effectively give them carte blanche to interfere in absolutely anything and everything that it wants to. When they had the first election of the First Peoples Assembly in 2019, which is only open to Aboriginal people, as I'm sure you understand, only 2,000 people voted. They had another election in 2023 and wow, they managed to double the number of voters to 4,200. That's 10% of the Aboriginal voting population in Victoria. 90% did not vote. And meanwhile, 33 people are put on this body at a minimum of $96,946,000 each. Nearly $100,000 each a year at least for 1 or 2 days' work a week. That's what it said when they sent out the application forms for 2023. And Jacinta Allen wants to enshrine this thing in law. I mean, on a pro rata basis, these people, some of them elected on bugger all votes, are paid more than an MP. I mean, if they're doing 1 day a week, pro rata, they're earning more than the Premier, for God's sake. Gee whiz. This isn't equality. This isn't reconciliation. It's division. It's racism. It is a separate and well-funded class of people. How much money do you think flows through to the communities, the people who really should have it? But if you're one of the privileged 33 on this body, $100K a year, and they want to enshrine this in law. What a joke.